Hello everybody. I recently found some old negatives in this envelope marked July 20th, 1965. And in it were some old negatives that I took in black and white that I processed back then. And that was some over 58 years ago. That's a long time. How many of you can remember going back 58 years? I can barely remember if I walk into a room to get something. By the time I get there, I forget what it was I was looking for. But anyway, these are of motorcycle hill climb photographs that I took of my friends. And it was taken right outside of Allentown, Pennsylvania, right off of Honeysuckle Rd, when a lot of my friends and myself got small motorcycles called Honda 50 Super Sports. And some of my other friends got Yamahas, Suzukis. One of my friends even got an Allstate scooter. But these were just really, really fun times. They were just, we had so much freedom and really good times. So I wanted to share this with you. Black and white images that I photographed using my Nikon and a 28 to 105 millimeter close-up lens. So let's take a look. Now, one thing I want to make clear, the Nikon D7200 along with the Nikon 28 to 105 millimeter lens was used to photograph or copy the old negatives that were taken back in 1964. And the camera that I used back then to photograph the actual hill climb, I'm not sure what it was, but I believe it was a camera that I bought at a department store. Back in Allentown, Pennsylvania, there was a really great department store called Hess Brothers. And every once in a while, they would have what they call a cleanup sale. And these were real sales. They were very popular. And sometimes I go with some of my friends. Sometimes I would just go alone. And this particular time, I remember I was standing by the front doors. I was back quite a ways. But some of the people that were up front, as soon as they open the door, man, everybody just pushes in, they shove. It's brutal. I remember seeing people get knocked down, trampled on, and wow. But anyway, I was further in back. When I got inside, I went to the camera department, and I saw they had a 35 millimeter there. I'm not sure what brand it was anymore, but it was marked at $5. So I bought it. How can you go wrong for $5? And it is pretty decent for the money. And it lasted me a couple of years, which was fine. But I believe that's what it was that took these photos. And there may have been another camera, but I can't remember. Because at this time, photography, I was just getting into photography as a hobby. Not really too serious yet, but I started processing my own black and whites. But anyway, getting back to the hill climb photos, we would go there, and there were several different hills, as you could see. Some were quite long, and they were all pretty steep. And I would go there with my friends, but we met a couple other bikers that were really crazy. One's name was Bobby, and at the time he rode a Honda 305 Dream, and his friend Mike, who later got a Honda 450, I believe it was. And these guys were crazy. I mean, they were, let's say, reasonably crazy. They weren't careless. They knew what they were doing. They had a lot of guts. Sometimes we'd be riding out with them on the road, and all of a sudden they would go off the road, and they would go onto the pavements and stuff like that. But at the hill climbs, they weren't afraid to challenge any of those hills, sometimes even at great speeds. And sometimes they would just start off doing some donuts just to warm up. And then when you go up these hills sometimes, and you're at a pretty good speed, and you come up to the top, then you really go flying over. It's really exciting. It's a great feeling. If you're going up one of these hills and you're not going fast enough, and you see that your bike isn't going to make it, so you jump off and hang onto your bike, and then other people will run down to your rescue. They'll help you usually push the bike up towards the top because you're, at this point, usually pretty close to the top. And that's just how it was. Sometimes these guys would get stuck and we would help them. And sometimes our friends would get stuck and we just jump off to help them. But overall, it was really a lot of fun. Bikes that were there were usually starting anywhere from the bikes that we had, the 50cc Honda Super Sports. Some people had 160s Honda. And of course, Mike had a 450, Bobby 305 Dream Honda. And he would later also get a Honda 450. But anyway, just going back to my archives, I found these negatives, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to share them with you. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. Thank you very much.